Hey everyone, welcome back to Move Wilder. My name is Hannah and today I'm going to take you through a Pilates class that is specific for runners. So running is a high impact workout that takes place mainly in the frontal plane. So we're generally running forward, don't tend to be running back or side to side. So you get a lot of movement forward and this causes muscle imbalance. So we tend to get a lot of impact in the knees, so wear and tear and sore knees, tend to get a bit of tightness in the hips and often a little bit of lower back pain. What we want to do is we want to try and balance out the body, and we're going to do that by using Pilates today for a 30-minute workout that's going to look at functional movements and isolation stretches that we can use to improve the balance and bring back that balance to your body to make you a more efficient and a more happy runner. Because at the end of the day, if you have happy joints that are able to do what you want to do, that makes you a happy person, right? So today we're going to roll out our mat, half an hour of your time to show you how Pilates can be epic for runners. Let's get going. We're now going to go through a dynamic warm-up. So we're going to start with the upper body. We're just going to stretch down to one side, reach up and over. We're going to do 30 seconds of side bend. So just stretching that arm up and over, making sure your elbow is staying in line with your ear as you bring it up and over your head and you're not rolling your shoulders forwards, keeping your knees soft, feet facing forward. So we're in our neutral stance position. Tailbone stays tucked underneath you. And then once we've done our 30 seconds of side bend, we are going to go into some rotation. So we're going to do drawing the arrow. So you're going to bring both arms out in front and then you're going to bring one arm back, rotating through that mid spine. So that thoracic spine is rotating. Think rib cage moving, keeping everything else nice and still, using your core. So thinking pulling your ribs down towards your hips, your hip bones together. And again, we're going to do 30 seconds of this. Thirty seconds of squat. So you're just going to keep your feet either hip or shoulder distance apart. Squat down into your squat as low as you feel comfortable. Remember, we're still warming up here, so it doesn't need to be really deep. And then we're going to just push back up, thinking heels first as you come back to standing, keeping your knees tracking your toes, chest lifted, eyes on the horizon. Next, we are going to go into a balance. So you're going to come up onto one leg. You're going to bring your arms above your head and we're going to circle the arms gently for 8 circles in one direction and then 8 circles in the other direction. Then we're going to change to the other leg and do those circles again in each direction, keeping everything else nice and still, maintaining that core. So I think rib to hip, hip to hip. And then we're going to go to bigger circles out the side. So you're going to bring those arms out and do the biggest circle you can from your sides. Again, standing on one leg as you circle, changing to the other side. And then our final warm-up exercise today, we're going to come down into our 4-point kneeling position, knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders. We're going to lift a leg and then you're going to gently draw a circle with that leg. So we're just working into that hip, glutes and leg. We're going to do up to 10 circles in one direction and then up to 10 circles in the other direction, and then we're going to swap to the other side. Now you've done your dynamic warm-up, you are ready to get on with the rest of your training. I hope you enjoy your session. Now I'm going to take you through a nice exercise for building strength in your lower back. So we're going to stand in the band, feet hip distance apart, arms are gently resting by your side shoulder blades, melting down your back. And we're just going to bend to start with from side to side. You could also do this with weights in your hand if you wanted to. Just pick a weight that you feel is an acceptable weight for the strength you've got in your lower back. So don't pick something that's really heavy to start with, because we're doing quite a few reps of this. So pick something that you feel is a manageable weight if you're using a weight instead. Then what we're going to do is start to lift and lower the elbow, as you'll see in the video. So we're bringing in some arm work here as well, still staying on that side plane of movement, so bending from side to side. Lower back strength is really important for maintaining good posture and having a good position on the bike. So if you do get lower back pain, it might be that your lower back is weak, and we need to work on strengthening not only the core but also the lower back, and this is a good way of doing that. Once you've finished, coming into your rest pose. I'm now going to take you through a really nice hip flexor stretch. So we're going to come onto our knees. So if you need to, rolling the mat up a little bit so that you've got more cushion under the knee joint is definitely a good idea. Then we're going to take a step forward with the left foot, keeping your pelvis underneath you, glutes engaged. We're going to push forward into that bent leg and keep your chest lifted. We're holding this stretch for around 30 seconds. We're then going to bring the right arm up and over and stretch out to the side. So you might find that this changes where you're feeling the stretch. You might get it more in your abs, around the side of your hip. That's absolutely fine. And again, we're holding this for 30 seconds. We're then going to change to the other side. So bring the right leg forward, keep your pelvis underneath you, push forward into that bent leg, feeling the stretch in the front of the hip for 30 seconds. And then bringing the left arm up and over so that you can feel the stretch in your side, maybe a bit in your abs, like I said as well. Once you've held this for 30 seconds, we're going to return to our rest pose. This exercise is hip flexor strength. So when I come to sitting on your sit bones, bring your legs to one side of an object, and then we're going to slowly lift and lower the legs over the object. Now I'm using a kettlebell here, but it doesn't have to be a piece of gym equipment. It could be a football, it could be a water bottle. It really doesn't matter what it is. The more important piece of information is what is happening to your back as you lift that leg over. You shouldn't be leaning back. If you are, I want you to try and sit up nice and tall. Imagine someone's got a piece of string from the top of your head and they're pulling you up towards the ceiling. Keeping that core switched on, so we're thinking rib to hip connection here. This is a great exercise for building strength in the hip flexors, and weakness in the hip flexors can cause back pain, hip pain, and also tension when you're doing exercises where you need to extend through the hip flexors. So what we're going to do here is build strength in those hip flexors, which is going to allow for better stability and muscle balance around the pelvis. Once you have done your set, we're going to come into our rest pose. We're now going to go through a shoulder bridge with the band. So you're going to tie the band about hand's width away from your knee, and you're tying it in a bow. If you've got a loop band, you can use this instead. Once you've tied it, we're going to come to laying on the mat, making sure that your spine is in a line, so pelvis is neutral, little gap under that low back. Arms are just resting on the floor, palm up if you think you're going to push your hands down into the mat. Going to take an inhale and then exhale. We're going to gently roll through the spine into your bridge position. Once you're at the top, your knee, hip and shoulder are in a line, and then we're going to push out into the band. Hold it there briefly and then release it back to the middle. Anywhere between 2 and 6 pushes out into the band per bridge. So we're going to then roll down to the bottom, get back into our neutral spine, and then again on your inhale, going to prepare, exhale, we're going to roll up into that bridge, and again push the knees out into the band. As you push your knees out into the band, you might find that the foot rolls out a little bit. That's okay. Try and keep your toes planted on the floor. As you roll up and down, thinking about your vertebrae moving as individuals. So we're placing each vertebrae down on the mat nice and slowly, and then as we come back up into our bridge, we're going to pick them up one at a time. So you're really mobilizing through that whole spine. This is a great exercise for building strength in your hamstrings and glutes. Keep pushing down into those toes. As you push out into the band, we're building strength in the outside of the leg. Keeping your pelvis lifted as you push out. If you're finding that you're dropping down a little bit lower, you need to really think about using your glutes to bring yourself higher. Once you've finished your set, you're going to take a full body stretch and then come back up to sitting. We're now going to go through shoulder bridge with a ball squeeze. So we're going to come down to laying on the mat. Going to bring the ball up so it's between your knees. Feet, knees and hips are hip distance apart and arms are just gently resting on the floor, palm facing up. We're going to take an inhale to prepare, and then exhale, we're going to slowly roll up vertebrae by vertebrae until your weight is evenly distributed between your shoulders and your feet. Your pelvis is lifted so your knee, hip and shoulder are in line and you're engaging your core, so you're pulling your ribs down towards your hips together. We're squeezing into the ball for a count of 8 seconds, and then we're releasing back to the ground. Once you're back onto the ground, rolling back into your neutral spine, inhaling there and then exhaling, rolling back up, pushing down into the feet again, breathing however works for you as you squeeze the ball for 8 seconds. And then taking an inhale and slowly rolling back to the mat. Shoulder bridge is a really good exercise for building strength in your hamstrings and your glutes, areas that predominantly are quite weak in a lot of us because we spend a lot of time sitting, and so those muscles get stretched and weak because of this. The ball squeeze is adding in work to the inner thigh. Keep pushing down into your toes as you roll up and down so you activate through those hamstrings. The weight stays in your shoulders, not in your neck throughout the move. And when you're finished, removing the ball, taking a full body stretch, and then coming back up to sitting. Now we're going to do a seated row. So you're going to come to sitting, legs straight out in front of you, and pop the band around the top of your foot. Then you're just going to hold onto the band, keeping your upper body upright, head looking forward, and you're just going to pull the band back so your elbows just come slightly past your body. Hold for a couple of seconds and then release back off. If you need to make this harder, you can pull the band in so the band is a little bit more tense. If you need to make it easier, you can just release some band out. The other way you can make this harder is once you've pulled it towards you, you could just hold it there for a couple more seconds before you release, keeping yourself nice and tall. The seated row is a really good exercise for building strength in the upper back, which is going to help to improve your posture. We're working several back muscles here. So we're working the lats or the latissimus dorsi, which is in the middle of the back, the rhomboids, which are between your shoulder blades, the trapezius, which is the diamond-like muscle between your neck, shoulders and upper back, and the biceps, so the front of the arm. And then once you've finished, coming back into your rest pose. Swan dive with the band is a great exercise for building strength in your upper back. So we're going to come down onto our front, going to bring your arms into your swan dive position with a gentle bend in the elbow and bring the band out in front of you. You're in control of how hard you work, so the less band you have in the middle of your hands, the harder you're going to make it. Going to lift your body up and then raise the arms to meet your upper body and then pull the band out to the sides. We're going to hold this for somewhere between 3 and 5 seconds and then release the arms back to the middle with the upper body staying off the ground. You can do this once, or you can do it twice if you like. You can do it a couple more times if you feel you really would like to try and really focus on that upper back today. So just hit pause and then join us when you have finished your arm reps. Keeping that lower body switched off, so keeping those toes turned in, trying to keep the feet on the floor, make sure the feet aren't raising up off the floor. Shouldn't feel any tension in the lower back. You might feel a little bit of pulling, but there should be no pinching. Keeping your eye line down to the floor, so make sure you're not lifting your chin. If you can see what's in front of you, you're looking in the wrong direction. You should be looking down at the mat. So I'm just going to show you from the top now, so you can see I'm pulling the band out, fully extending through the arm, and then slowly bringing my arms back to the middle. Lower body stays switched off, eye line down to the floor. So I'm keeping a nice long spine as I pull the band out, holding again for between 3 and 5 seconds, and then releasing that back off. And once you're finished, coming into child's pose, and we're just going to hold that for 20 seconds. We're now going to go through a plank variation. So we're going to come up into our high plank. So hands are under your shoulders, feet are hip distance apart, and then we're going to walk out and we're going to walk round the clock. Keep moving your hands as and when you need to. Try and keep your shoulders down. Try not to let those shoulders come up towards your ears. And we're going to slowly move around so that you've walked in a full entire circle with that plank position, trying to keep your hips level. Try not to let your bum poke up into the air. Once we've gone one direction, you can just have a little wrist break. If you bring your fingertips together and push them out, it's a really nice wrist stretch. I call it my jellyfish stretch. And then we're going to go up and we're going to go in the other direction. So we're building core strength here. This is a great exercise for your core, but we're also working into the legs and the shoulders and back as well to support your body in this position. If this is too much on the wrists, then just stay in one position and you're going to walk out 2 steps to one side, walk back, have a wrist break, walk out 2 steps to the other side, walk back, have a wrist break for me. Once you finish, coming back into your rest pose. This is one of my favourite rotational mobility exercises for your spine. We're going to do book. So we're going to come down onto the mat, making sure your hip and shoulder are in a line and that your head stays in line with the rest of your spine. So you're going to need a cushion under that head. Arms come out parallel. We're going to stretch that top arm forward and then reach it up so your hand is in line with your shoulder. And then the rotation is coming through your mid-spine. So think about your rib cage moving, gently bringing that arm back behind you, making sure your hips stay stacked one on top of the other. We're going to hold that at the back for an inhale. And then exhale, gently bring that arm up so your hand is in line with the sky. And then gently bring that arm back to the front, fighting gravity as you bring that arm back. Every time you rotate back, you can either leave your head facing forward or you can take your hand with you. It's entirely up to you. As you come back, remember you're rotating through that mid-spine until your hand is in line with your shoulder, and then you're gently closing that arm down. You should get a nice stretch across the chest as you bring that arm back behind you. And then once we've finished our set, we're going to roll over onto the other side, making sure your hip and shoulder are in line. And again, stretching that arm forward, reaching up to the sky, and then letting that spine rotate backwards. So you coming from your rib cage, nice opening chest stretch, keeping your hips stacked one on top of the other. And then again, using your spinal mobility to bring that arm back to facing the ceiling, and then slow controlled movement of the hand back to our starting location. Making sure your shoulders remain relaxed, so don't bring your shoulder up towards your ear as you rotate back. Keeping your knees glued together. So the rotation comes through that mid-spine, and we're going to exhale, engage your core and rotate back, making sure that you're using those core muscles to stabilize the movement. And once you've finished your set, coming up into your rest pose. Next up, we have a calf stretch and strengthen. So coming to sitting however is comfy, legs out straight, going to place the band around the top of your foot, so around the ball of your foot. Going to bring the band in so you've got some tension in the band, and then we're going to push the foot away, and then as the foot comes back towards you, you get a nice stretch in the calf as well. You can, if you want to, hold this for a little bit longer. So I'm moving and keeping the movement continuous, but if you wanted to push out, hold for a bit, bring your foot in, let that stretch happen for a couple of seconds, and then release down and push down and get the strength element of the exercise, that also would be fine. If you want to slow it down a little bit, that's great. You can lift your foot up off the floor, as you can see here, or you can keep your foot rested on the floor, whatever is better for you. We're working into the calves here, building strength, but also getting that really lovely stretch as well, working on the movement you can create at the ankle. Once you've finished, coming into your rest pose. Our next move is the side plank. We're going to come up into our side plank position, and then you can place one foot directly over the top of the other, or you can keep it behind you if you need to. You could also do this just on your knees, so you'd be doing like a 3/4 side plank, which is going to be slightly less challenging if you need to just reduce the amount of time you're staying in this position, making sure your shoulder stays under your elbow. Once you've done one side, we're going to spin round and do the other. So elbow underneath your shoulder, pushing the weight up and into that arm, and then bringing that top arm and top leg in line, keeping your head in line with the rest of the spine. So make sure you're not lifting your head towards the top shoulder. This is going to build strength in your shoulder and in your core muscles, specifically targeting the obliques. And once you've done both sides, just coming back into our rest pose. I'm now going to take you through the QL stretch. You're going to sit with your feet just further than hip distance apart. Take your right hand under the inside of your right leg. Rotate your body away to the left and bring your left arm up and over your ear and point it towards your toes. We're going to hold this position for 30 seconds. You should maintain a seated position with your sit bones stuck to the floor throughout your hold, and you should feel this stretch in your low back. Once you've done 30 seconds, you're going to come back to the neutral. Left hand goes under your left knee, and then you're going to rotate your body to the right and bring your right hand over towards your left toes, keeping your elbow over the top of your ear, so you're getting that nice stretch through the back of your back. Again, we're going to hold this for 30 seconds. Once you've done your 30 seconds, coming back up to a seated position. I'm now going to take you through one of my favourite stretches, which is pigeon pose. This is great for hip mobility and also for releasing any tension in your lower back. So we're going to start in a box position. Going to bring your knee forward towards your hand and take your foot over in the opposite direction, and then slide your weight backwards. You can bring your body down as I am in the video, or you can keep your upper body lifted if that is more comfortable. You should feel a mild tension around the hip. Shouldn't be any discomfort in the knee. If there is, try moving your foot around to see if you can relieve that. And we're holding this stretch for 30 seconds. And then we're going to repeat on the other side. So you'll bring your knee forward to behind the hand, foot slides over towards the opposite hand, and then you're just sliding your weight backwards, staying upright or bringing your body down towards the mat, again holding for 30 seconds. Once you've finished, you can come up and into your rest pose.